What's up, everybody? This is Tanner from TanmanBaseballFan.com. I'm actually recording on my phone here. I want to get my face on camera for you here, let you know that I'm still alive and kicking. I wanted to go over a couple of things over the next several videos. I'm not sure how long I'm going to be doing these for, but I wanted to highlight a couple of my vintage cards, and more in particular the actual history behind them as well, because I think you'll find them very fascinating. We're going to start off with 1887 Old Judge. If you guys have any interest whatsoever on 19th century baseball cards, stay tuned here. Here is one that we're going to be looking at. And by the way, I'm going to start by talking about this book here, and we'll go through some of the pages. Okay, so this is one of my favorite books ever for baseball cards. The Photographic Baseball Cards of Goodwin and Company, 1886 to 1890. So let's take a look at the front of this puppy here. This is the Old Judge guy. There is all kinds of information in here, guys. Like, it's I think there's either 3,500 or 4,500 known Old Judge baseball cards, and they're very rare. There's not like, you're not going to find like 100 of one certain type necessarily, but there's a bunch of different types, and they're actually being discovered, now. Like, they're finding more new ones from time to time, which is really cool. So I wanted to talk about the production of them here, and I wanted to actually do this on camera because this book does a fantastic job of talking about how it's done. So what they would do is they would actually take cabinet photos, they would cut them out, and they would put them in like this 6x4 matrix here, like this, and they would put a mat over them. They would actually glue little tabs on top of them with names and brands and everything. They would actually take a photograph of this entire thing here, and when they did that and developed it, they would cut them up, and lo and behold, you have 24 Old Judge cards to stick into cigarette packs, which is just so fascinating to me. Like, so you see the cropping that they did here. They didn't have a zoom feature back then, so they would get creative with their cropping. And you see the N173 cards that are bigger. Well, this isn't an N173. This is just a cabinet photo, but it's probably the size of an N173. And then you see also for more cropping, like what they would do. There weren't too many cards that they created of players outside. So like here's King Kelly. That's my favorite pose of his as far as portrait goes. And they talk about, some of the history and everything of each type of card. And so that's what we're going to talk about right here, is we're going to talk about my Old Judge King Kelly here. So you think about this card right here was literally in something like this and chopped up and put into a cigarette pack at some point close to 150 years ago. And I love this card, guys. Like, I think this is fantastic because it actually reminds me of like a Wild West wanted photo or something, and so he's just, gosh, such a cool story behind King Kelly. Also, I'll probably tell you all more about that later as well, but I want to go through some of these. There's our old first home run king, Roger Connor, the mighty Clouder, or dear old Roger as they would call him. I'll go to the Kellys here, I guess. They did a great job photographing all of these here, guys. So here are all of the King Kelly poses. And so you notice one thing like right off. So he's got like 3 portrait N172 Old Judges. This is an N173 right here. And so that's going to be a bigger size. But for the regular sized Old Judge cards, these 3 guys right here, this one is by far my favorite. I just love that one. And so, which is why I have it, and I'm super excited about it. So you see also that it's a little bit lighter. That happens with Old Judge cards over time. Like, you'll see some that are faded, but this is actually really good. This is a really nice copy of an Old Judge card. There's some, they're like this, maybe that's like more faded. Let's see if, I'm sure they probably didn't do a whole lot of them photograph that were faded too terribly much, but here's one over here that happened quite a bit back then, because remember, these are nearly like 150-year-old cards, and I think they developed these in like egg white or something. It's albumen paper, I think is what it's called. And so for me personally, like you can have like a super sharp picture, like this. And if the borders are in edges or whatever, or in corners are not, perfect or whatever, I have zero problems whatsoever. My main concern for old Judge cards is that picture. Like this one right here is phenomenal looking. Let me show you another one here also. Oh, and before I do that, let me show you all of the King Kelly poses. Like everybody knows now probably that I'm just a big fan of this guy. America's first pop song was written about him, called Slide Kelly Slide. There's another thing that was interesting was he's really kind of the one that popularized autographing. Like he's the first documented person that people would run up to try to get his autograph. In Irish pubs all over the place, they actually replaced General Custer's picture with King Kelly. That's how, like, he was the 19th century Babe Ruth or Michael Jordan, like legit. Like he was the man. Like everybody knew who he was. So out of all these poses, it's really easy to really kind of fall in love with old Judge cards when you look at all the stuff, especially knowing the story behind all of them. So you take a look at this. So he's in the street clothes right here. You have this also. So you take a look, you see the ball is right there. This picture, like all these pictures actually took place in a studio, just with different backdrops, and they would take the ball and they would actually float them from the ceiling with a string. So you have all of these amazing photos. And so for me, like I like those. For me personally, I love this one. This is my favorite King Kelly card ever, I think. And probably my favorite old Judge card, just because the elaborate backdrop. So you see like how there's like just a little brook or stream or something right here. It looks like there's a lake in the background. They did such a good job. And by the way, you see the script on the front, which is probably etched in on the negative that says $10,000 Kelly. He was the man back then when it came to basically everything. He transcended baseball into like pop culture, and he was like baseball's first $10,000 man. So really amazing, really amazing. So as of right now, I have one card incoming. I will show you all that later. But as of right now, I have two old Judge cards in my possession. So I'll kind of show you the other one I have. A picture first from this catalog here. Let me see if I can find it. So we have the King Kelly, and let's see here. Okay, I found it. And then here's Billy Sunday. I always wanted a card of his. He actually turned to became one of America's first prominent evangelists. And he was actually friends with King Kelly and teammates with him. And so there's looks like there's just 5 known so far versions of Billy Sunday's old Judge card. He has very few cards, by the way. And so I found this card here, and I've shown this in the past, but look at this. I mean, just the darkness of the actual photo itself, and how the ball is held up on a string here. Like, I just love that. That gets me. I just love that. And to think that when you take a look at this, how this was actually a cabinet photo that they cropped along with 23 others on the same page, and they took a piece of paper that says Old Judge and laid it on top of the picture, and same with the name here. The whole thing is just like so fascinating to me. So here it is next to the actual book itself, and here it is with the King Kelly. So 2 wildly different types of cards. Like you'll notice that the King Kelly is shorter. Not that it was altered, but it's actually got a numerical grade. But that's how it was created. It was created smaller. The book actually talks about why that is as well, if I remember correctly. You see a few different differences as well. This old Judge right here is off to the left. This is centered. They did a strip for his name, Centerfield, Chicago. So Sunday, Centerfield, Chicago right here. There's none right here. There's just script right here. I think this is considered an O card, a type O card or something, if I remember correctly. So there are subtle differences, but they're both old Judge, and they're both amazing to me. Like I love both of them. So I've got one more that I think will complement these tremendously. I will show it on camera once it comes in. If it comes in, guys, like I'm crossing my fingers and toes. USPS has all kinds of problems right now, as I'm sure you know, and I hope that we all get all of our packages. But in any event, so that's Old Judge, guys. Like these are, I think, probably the first actual like nationally distributed baseball cards that were photographed, if I remember correctly. So could be wrong on that, but I think that's the case. And they are just amazing little. They're miniature masterpieces. Even look at the backdrop of this, like just the, they did backdrop of him being in like a baseball field or something, and just brilliant, absolute brilliance. I just love these cards so much. And it's funny that just how things have changed over the years as far as baseball cards go. I would love for Topps or somebody, I would love for Topps actually to take a card like this and take the actual players and have them pose with the ball on a string or something. Like, I just think that'd be just the greatest. I wanted to show you all something else, which is kind of cool here too. So hang on. They also talk about how like cigarettes were produced back then. I mean, they go through the history of everything. So, Ebenezer and Charles Goodwin enter the biscuit and cracker business. They're involved. Goodwin was involved in the gold rush. I mean, how cool is this stuff, guys? Like, this is so neat. And then they talk about the old Judge cabinets and everything, which, by the way, I've got to get me one of these here. I don't have one yet. Oh, Sniffle. There is the Gypsy Queen that I lost out on. Oh, I hate that. Hate that I missed out on it. But anyways, there's that Gypsy Queen there. Just gorgeous cards. I love these. Oh, I missed it. I wish I got it. How cool is this, by the way? They have like an advertising sheet of all of these different old Judge cards, which is really cool. By the way, old Hoss Radburn, right here. He was the original Billy Ripken. he flipped off the camera in like one of his cards or something. Nobody noticed it. I want to show you all something that's kind of cool. Oh, by the way, the negatives that they use. Here's a couple other different types where they would have like two players. Or, even look at this. They have the ball behind the guy just as like a little bit of a joke. There's a dog one there. I mean, just this set is full of so much personality, and this is what they consider, by the way, to be the 19th century Wagner. I want this card so badly, but look, that's probably not going to happen. The 19th century Wagner, the Cap Anson with the Chicago shirt on, which, by the way, I don't think that's the 19th century Wagner. That's actually the 19th century Wagner. That's like the legit, that's a legit Wagner. It's 19th century, but I do get what they're saying. It actually talks about, called the 19th century Wagner. Well, no, sorry guys. The actual 19th century Wagner is the 19th century Wagner. But if anybody wants to trade, I will be more than happy to trade my Wagner for that Anson. That's for darn sure. I wanted to show you also some of these here cool things too. But like you have the Goodwin Champions set. I mean, this is a gorgeous set here, and I actually have that set right there. And my beloved Goodwin 1889 A35 round album set. And I love that they have this in the publication as well. And so you can see there's one of them. I've got I've got the rest of the set elsewhere, but there's the Cap Anson I got displayed with the Goodwins. And take a look at that. And of course, my artwork around it and everything, but it's original, 100% original from 1889. And there it is right there. And yeah, so like this book, y'all, like they cover just about everything. I mean, it's phenomenal. So anyways, all that to say, let's see, I think I have some spots marked in this book because it is huge. There are, let's see, close to 500 pages in this guy, like all kinds of things. Just such a neat visual representation of everything. So anyway, so that said, I highly recommend you getting this book, as well as picking up one or two old Judge cards for your collection. It's history. It's history, and yeah, they're quite a bit more expensive than a T206 card. If you want to get a beat up one or whatever, but still less than probably a lot of these boxes of new cards that they have. And plus, I mean, listen, this is a time period before baseball had television or radio. Just a great time period. Like, there's so many books, and here's a bunch of books, by the way, here that I have that I'm about to read, of different 19th century players. Just a fantastic time period in our game. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. If y'all have any questions, let me know. I would love to see if you have any old Judge cards as well. Like I say, here's my two again. And I am so excited to show y'all my latest old Judge pickup as long as it comes up here. So anyways, thanks for watching again. Have a great day.